Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Roberts versus Clark. It's my understanding, Miss Roberts, that you are suing Miss Clark for injuries your daughter sustained in her laundromat. You are asking this court to award you $8,000 for past medical expenses for your daughter, $2,000 for future medical expenses, and $150,000 for emotional distress, for a total of $160,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Clark, you own this laundromat?
Yes, Your Honor.
And your position here, based on what you filed with this court, is she should have watched her kids. This is her fault.
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let's get into the legal sauce. Ms. Roberts, tell me how you got to be at this laundromat this day.
Well, I'm a single mom. I live in this very small apartment. They don't have a laundromat, so that's why I come here.
How many children do you
I
have?
have 2.
These are your babies here?
Yes.
I should have had
Gina's
girls.
the one on the right side, and Rochelle's the one on the left side. We bake together, we sleep next to each other.
I think the most fun I've ever had in my life is being a parent. So yes. I can definitely get with you on that.
I love it. They're my girls. They're my everything. I will do anything for them.
So why this laundromat? Had you been there before?
Yes, I always go there. We don't have a laundromat at our apartment, so they came with me that Saturday morning.
So, Miss Clark, how long have you had this laundromat?
I'm a third-generation owner. My grandfather started this business over 60 years ago.
Now, in the laundromats that I've been in as a kid, they were packed on Saturdays.
Yes.
People waiting to use the machines. Is that how yours has been?
We stay relatively full on the weekends mostly, yes.
So, Ms. Roberts, tell me what happened on the day in question.
Okay, so I was folding my laundry. My kids were coloring. And,
are they near you or are they somewhere else?
Yes, they're like 15 feet away.
Okay.
So I was folding my clothes. I was folding my clothes, and they were coloring, and all suddenly Gina gets up, and she starts climbing into one of the washing machines. And it happened within 5 seconds. So at the time I got up, my other daughter, she pushed the door, and then it locks. I mean, within 5 seconds.
You must have been frightened.
I mean, it was horrible because it locked.
Yes, ma'am.
And I tried to pull it, and it locked completely. So the water started coming down.
Was your little girl looking at you?
Yes, she started crying, and my other daughter started crying, so I started
I know this was bad.
freaking out because
I can imagine. All she wanted was her mommy at that point.
Yes. It's
what are you doing at this point?
I'm trying to pull her. I'm trying to push buttons, and nothing. I started screaming for help. Help! Somebody help my baby because she's gonna die.
So,
she never came out, and I thought she was gonna die because I saw the water going over her head, and then it started rocking. And then,
now, Ms. Clark, you can see that this had to be frightening for any parent, any mom.
It would have been frightening for me, Your Honor. I'm a mother and a grandmother both.
Now, were you there this day?
Yes, I was.
How did you know that something had gone wrong?
When I heard a scream, and I had seen the kids running around throughout, and I was thinking to myself, why isn't she corralling these kids because they're running around? Everybody else's kids is having to.
Yeah, but you don't understand that my daughter
over in the kids' area, and before I knew it, like she said. It happened suddenly, but as she just told you, she saw it when it was taking place.
But I would imagine, though, I would imagine in any laundromat where moms come with their babies, moms and dads, that kids, 3- and 4-year-olds, they know nothing but energy, right?
Yeah, but that's all the more reason why you should keep an eye on your kids.
Now, you agree with that. You agree with that, don't you, Ms. Roberts?
And this happened within 5
Ms.
seconds.
Roberts, you agree with that, though. You should watch your babies, right?
I was watching my babies.
I know you're washing clothes. I understand that. I certainly do.
Yes, but this happened within 5 seconds. By the time I got there, it was locked.
So once the door closed, you said water was coming down?
Water was coming down. Within 2 minutes, it started rocking. And I couldn't even pull it because it locked out.
So she's in the washing machine. This is happening, and then there's water coming down on her head? So this is a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, Your Honor, but as she just said, Your Honor, she saw her baby climbing on the washing machine. She could have said something at that point. Your Honor, it is not our fault. We have a kids area where we ask them and we make an announcement for you to keep an eye on your kids, and please, if at all possible, make sure you stay in that area.
How far is this kids area? Tell me about this kids area. You got a TV and toys?
Well, we have TV, we have the soda machines, we have different little toys, little building blocks and things, the chairs, the size for the kids.
So is it fair to say that your laundromat is fit for moms and kids?
Yes, it is.
Working moms and kids.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. This area is so small. If you see a picture of it, it's so small.
Well, it's about 25 feet, 20 feet between the kids' area and the whole laundromat area.
And this is the kids' area?
That's the kids' area.
That doesn't look like it's going to have a whole lot of kids there, right?
The washing machine, it's about 15
well, you
feet.
could have a few, you could have...
If this is going to work the way you want it to work, tell me how this happens. Do parents just put their kids over there and go back to washing clothes?
They do.
And leave their kids over here?
Periodically, they come and check on their children, but they can see them. As she said, she saw her child when she first started to climb on the wash machine, and her other child was with her. At that point in time, knowing how rowdy her kids have been, I would have said, even if I was folding clothes, I'd stop folding my clothes.
So, Ms. Roberts, I see the pain on your face. Tell me what happened to your little girl. Was she hurt?
Yes, she was
How
hurt.
was she hurt? Tell me about her injuries.
When she got locked in there,
yes, ma'am.
The water started filling.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then when it started rocking, this other guy came and he helped me. He grabbed a fire extinguisher, and then he said, I'm gonna have to break it.
And did he break the glass?
Yes.
And it got your baby out?
Yes. I mean, thanks to him, not for her.
Now, I see
Because she could die.
I see that your daughter had $8,000 in past medical expenses. Tell me about those injuries.
Well, her arm is broken.
Okay.
And she had bruises all around her shoulders because of the rocking of the machine. And then she had a cut right over her eyes.
Okay.
And I also have some pictures just to show you.
Sheriff Matt, if you retrieve those pictures, and thank you, ma'am, for providing those.
Yes, Your Honor.
So this is your little girl's arm here?
Yes.
And this is her left arm.
Yes, her left arm.
Was she frightened about all these bandages and things on her?
Yes, it's horrible. She was crying. She was so scared what happened. She won't even take a bath anymore. She won't even go to the swimming pool.
Now, see this abrasion? Where is that on her
right
body?
over here on the right side.
So she banged her shoulder up, too?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I see this incision here. Where is that on her body?
It's right over here.
Okay, so she had a cut on the inside of her right arm, too?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I see there's a cut by her eye. Is that how her eye looked?
Yes.
So she had to get stitches in that eye?
She did.
At 3 years old?
Yes. She got 10
You can imagine,
stitches.
Miss Clark, this is a bad deal for this little girl, right?
She hasn't been the same.
Your Honor, I do agree that the child's injury is
You remember
bad
when
to
your
see. It's hard
kids were
to
little
see.
kids?
Yes, of course I do, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, of course I do. But my thing is, Your Honor, that is not my fault how this child got injured. If her mother, had been more responsible as a parent to look out for her child, this wouldn't have happened.
How come you didn't unplug it?
The wash machines that we have are on a line. You can't unplug one.
Okay, and how do you operate them? People aren't plugging and
they're
unplugging
operated
them.
by a corn slot, and I had a sign on the machine that says broken in English and in Spanish.
Okay. Now, how would a 3-year-old be able to read that?
It's not for the children to read.
Okay.
They have an area for them. When the parents see, if it was my child, and I saw that there was a faulty something on there, my first thing would be, and y'all stay away from that one.
Miss Roberts described her little girl getting into this washing machine, and it starts rocking.
Actually, you didn't have to put any money in it. That was the problem. You're supposed to
were
pay to wash,
unaware?
but it just washed on its own. It wasn't working properly, and that's the reason why we had to get it repaired, because it was washing without any money.
Now, Miss Roberts, you can see that sign that was on the front of this washing machine, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you see it that day?
I didn't see it that day. But
Okay.
if I would have seen it, I mean, I would have at least, I would have washed my clothes there if I could have used it without coins. You know what I'm saying?
Now, let me circle this apparatus on the top.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about this. Is that where they put the coin?
Yes, sir, it
Now,
is.
that was one of the things that was broken.
That's the main culprit that was broken. I have a work order here, Your Honor, if you'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am. Sheriff Matt, if you'll retrieve that from Miss Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing this.
Yes, sir.
It says, repair commercial washer operates without taking coins.
Exactly.
And then you've got a diode replacement.
Right.
And then a coin slot replacement mechanism.
Right. That's so that we can operate the machine.
So even the coin receptor was wrong, or at least not
That's
working
correct.
properly.
Wasn't working properly, and that's the reason why we had to get it repaired.
Do you rent that, or do you own it like you do the
own
washing
that too.
machine?
We own that and had to put it on top of there so that we could make it a commercial washer.
So this washing machine and the coin receptor, they're kind of your babies.
Yes, they are, sir.
You own them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I did want to mention, Your Honor, we have never had anything like this happen in my laundromat in all of the years that I've been there. my father or my grandfather, we've never had any incidents because we're very careful. We care about our customers. We do our best to make it a pleasant environment.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
Honor, I feel for this little girl. I would want nothing like that to happen to anybody's children, my children, anybody.
Do you hear that, Miss Roberts?
I hear it, but I don't believe it because you never came out when that happened.
I did come out.
She's a grandmother.
That's why I came out.
Ladies,
scream.
We're going to have order in this court.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor.
So, Ms. Roberts, I want to understand Gina's injuries from a medical perspective. I've consulted Dr. Eddie Richardson. So, Sheriff Matt, will you go get Dr. Richardson? Hello, doctor. Come on in, make yourself comfortable. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor?
Okay, Dr. Richardson, can you please explain Gina's injuries?
Yes, this sustained injuries of multiple abrasions and bruises, as well as a fracture to the left forearm, a compound radial fracture that she sustained probably from the tumblets inside of the wash machine.
For folks that are not doctors, what is a radial fracture?
A radial fracture, you have two bones in your wrist and your arm, the ulnar and the radius is the one that comes down particularly closest to your thumb. As it was tumbling, there's a possibility that the arm was outstretched and it came back, because that's a very fragile bone in that arm.
Did any of her wounds come from the glass breaking?
From the jagged edge, those were probably from the glass. Now, the abrasions that she had suffered on her shoulder were more than likely from the inside of the wash machine.
From getting tumbled around?
Tumbled around, yes.
What is it from an emotional perspective for a little kid like this?
You bring up a very good point, Your Honor. That's probably one of the most substantial because she probably suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, you've heard.
For a 3-year-old?
Yes. And you can imagine being closed in a closed-in space, which is going to be manifested as claustrophobia and anxiety as she was closed in this space, as well as the water coming in on her. Without counseling, she may suffer long-term anxieties and phobias and separation. That would affect her mind because at 3 to 5 years old is when kids are developing their personalities and their coping mechanisms.
It's an important time.
Exactly. So now you've interrupted that with a very traumatic experience.
Thank you, doctor. We appreciate you. You are now released.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Roberts, you've heard the description from the doctor's perspective. What's it been like with Gina after this incident?
I mean, it seems like an eternity because we used to do things together. I mean, she cannot play ball. She cannot play with her Barbies.
You should have been watching your kids, hon.
Yeah, you were not there. And the washing machine was only 15 feet away.
I came out.
Yeah, you were not there, okay?
I came out.
And I was folding clothes.
Why,
you want to come and fold
So,
my
Ms.
clothes
Clark,
now?
in light of this little girl being injured,
yes, sir,
you go right at it and say, well, you should have been watching your kids.
That's the whole thing, Your Honor.
But it seems like you're not thinking about Gina, though.
No, I am thinking about Gina. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I am sensitive to her, to the child's
But
injury.
I'm not seeing from you,
sir,
that you are showing some heart about this. A little girl was nearly killed in your laundromat.
Yes, sir.
But there's a moral kind of ethical deal
understand,
here.
Your Honor,
I mean, y'all could have...
I understand, Your Honor. I understand, Your Honor.
Yeah, you don't care.
No, I do care.
You don't care.
So, Ms. Roberts, as a parent, as a daddy of 3, my heart really goes out to you on this one.
Thank you.
As does mine, Your Honor.
You don't know what the future looks like. Ms. Clark, I'm glad you said that.
Yes, it does,
I am
Your
so
Honor.
glad you said that.
I know you don't believe me, but I do feel for this child.
You have a business, but you got a heart, too.
I was almost crying with her while she was holding her child. I was the second one there, other than the guy with the fire
You didn't
extinguisher.
care.
Ladies?
Yes, sir.
I think I've heard enough. I'm
Yes,
ready
Your
to
Honor.
render my decision. In every personal injury case, the plaintiff, someone who is in your shoes, has to prove that there was an injury and that that injury was caused by the defendant's wrongdoing. That is, the wrong-caused injury. Here, the wrong is shared. Clearly, there was harm. Clearly, the harm was caused by the wrong, but the wrong was shared. That is, you all should have secured this washing machine so the child or an adult could not get it open, especially if there was a risk of it turning on once you closed the door. You, on the other hand, you are a hard-working mom doing the most important job ever, but part of that job is to keep an eye on your children and to put them in the designated areas. So here I find that you are 60% responsible and you are 40% responsible for your daughter's injuries. In this case, you are seeking $8,000 for past medicals, $2,000 for future medicals, and $150,000 for the emotional distress that your daughter has gone through. In light of the fact that you are 40% responsible for your daughter's injuries, I hereby award you 60% of what you are seeking, which is $96,000. So I find in your favor and against Ms. Clark. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Our attorneys across America just viewed this case for the first time. Let's hear what Hoyt Tessner has to say.
An injury to a child is not only heart-wrenching. The age of the child has legal implications. You cannot blame a 5-year-old. The plaintiff won this case because the defendant knew the machine was defective and had an easy solution: unplug it. Investigation of the owner's knowledge is critical. The defendant knew the kids had climbed on and in machines before this accident. That's called an attractive nuisance.
Injury Court.
This is the matter of Jimenez versus Sullivan. Ms. Jimenez, your daughter Alma, my understanding is you filed this lawsuit for medical expenses in the amount of $35,000, pain and suffering in the amount of $150,000 for a total of $185,000 for injuries that your daughter suffered when she fell off a platform at Ms. Sullivan's dress shop. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Sullivan,
Yes,
you don't think this is your fault. You think, frankly, this is their fault. True?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's get into the legal sauce. Ms. Jimenez, tell me how we got here.
Well, Your Honor, ever since the day my baby Alma was born, I've been planning a quinceañera. She's my only daughter, and when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't get to have one. And I don't know if you're familiar with a quinceañera, but it's a celebration.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, a 15th birthday, like a sweet 16
Yes,
or a
ma'am.
bar mitzvah.
I've been to a couple of them, so it's quite a festive occasion.
So you understand, right? It's a big to-do. I mean, we had the venue, we had the limo, the catering service, everything was done to the nines for my baby girl, my only daughter.
Is it fair to say that, and if I mess it up, it's a quinceañera?
Quinceañera.
Quinceañera.
Quinceañera, correct.
Okay, it's basically a coming out.
Yes.
It is. It's her debut.
Now, Ms. Sullivan, you've done a number of these, right?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Yes.
In terms of preparing dresses and how you appreciate how big this is, right?
Absolutely. That's what our boutique shop does. It specializes in quinceañeras.
And,
yes.
and everybody's pretty excited because this is a one-time incident, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much so.
Now, Ms. Jimenez, tell me what happened.
Well, we were done with everything that we needed to do to prep for her quinceañera. This was the last tick we had to check off the to-do list. The final fitting of the dress.
Now, I see a dress in our
Yes.
courtroom. This is, say it one more time and I'll get it.
Quinceañera.
Quinceanera.
Yeah, there you go.
Quinceanera. I'm gonna be saying that tonight in my sleep. Okay. This is the dress that you had picked out for your daughter.
Well, it's similar to the dress.
The same glamour.
Color, yes.
The
all
same
those-
bling,
yes.
right?
And her favorite color, that blue. I mean, it was all she drew it out.
So the blue had purpose.
It did. It
Right?
did.
You picked the blue because you wanted to wear blue.
She did. Look,
And-
there she is. She looked beautiful. Look how beautiful that
Wow.
dress looked on her.
You look so
Amazing.
happy, Alma.
I was so happy.
Was this your dream dress?
It was. It was the color I wanted ever since I can remember. It's the color we always talked about.
Yep.
So you're at Miss Sullivan's shop and you're getting the dress altered. What happened?
So we're there, we're in the fitting room, and so Alma gets up on that platform, the platform that's sitting right there, and she's posing, we're taking pictures, doing the selfie kind of thing, just so she could share with her friends and we could share with our family.
Y'all just having a good time, being happy.
Absolutely. I mean, this is, again, we're approaching
Miss
the
Sullivan,
day of the thing.
Do you remember this happy day?
Yes, I remember it just a little bit more difficult than that.
By difficult,
yes.
what do you mean?
Well, Mrs. Jimenez was a bit difficult to work with, and
You
she
sound
was
like
very
you're dancing with the words.
demanding. She was very demanding. Yeah, she might have been a B word.
Now, I'm sure what that meant was Mama Bear.
Absolutely. This is my daughter's day. I want it to be perfect.
She was a little bit more difficult than we've ever had
But you
before.
keep saying difficult. Tell me, what does difficult mean? I
She
need
was
to get there.
extremely demanding. and
Give me an example.
not very willing to listen to instruction about being on the platform.
Alma or Miss Jimenez?
Alma. And Miss Jimenez as well. I was trying to get her to not be dancing around on the platform.
Your Honor, this is a special occasion. We are happy, we're excited.
But Miss
Are we
Jimenez,
supposed to stand there stiff like mummies?
well, you're
and not
trying to
do
get
anything?
the hem done, though, right?
Well, the problem is it's a small platform, and the platform is strictly designed for the young lady to stand up there so that we can do the alterations and then step down after the alterations have been done, and she could do her dancing there.
So you needed them to stay still?
Yes.
Now, Miss Jimenez, how did your daughter get hurt? I see the crutches. How did she get hurt?
So, Your Honor, they did all the alterations. So she proceeds to step off the front of that platform, and you see how huge that dress is.
Yes, ma'am.
She proceeds to step off the front.
Now, you admit that y'all were moving around, having a good time.
Of course, Your Honor, we were celebrating. This was the last thing we needed to check off our list.
Playing. My favorite song came on.
I mean, it was innocent fun.
So you're dancing around, you're having a good time.
Yes, sir.
She's about to step off the platform, and then what happens?
And then she falls to the ground, Your Honor. She falls to the ground. I hear her screaming, my leg. I run over to see what was going on with her. I'm sorry, because this is very traumatic for me, just remembering back to that day.
It's a big deal for any parent to see a child hurt.
Sitting there on the floor, I'm screaming. I'm like, are you okay? I don't know what is going on with her.
You felt pretty helpless.
I did.
You discovered later that your daughter broke her leg.
I did.
As reflected in the medical records that you all submitted.
Yes, sir. So after all that, the paramedics come, and they told me that she broke her leg.
Now, Miss Sullivan, you were there that day.
Yes, I remember the incident.
What was going through your head when a young lady gets horribly injured at your place?
It's devastating for me. I have a 15-year-old child as well. This has never happened in our boutique. I'm a mother. I had a quinceañera. I know what this is about. And it was terrifying for me as well. This has never happened in our boutique. My family has run this boutique for 30 years.
But you weren't there.
Me personally,
you were not there when this
run it
happened. My
for
daughter is
10
still
years.
in pain.
Miss Jimenez.
Okay.
Still in pain.
I had stepped out for a moment.
So, Miss Jimenez, you talked about your daughter falling on the floor. What are the nature of all of her injuries?
So she broke her tibia, her left tibia. She was in the hospital a couple of days. And she's still in the boot, as you can see.
And the pain was horrible, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
She's still in pain. This ruined our whole event.
This leg still hurts, Alma?
It does,
It
yes.
does. It does. And Your Honor, I do have the x-rays and the doctor's bills and stuff if you need that.
Sheriff Matt, if you'll retrieve the folder. Thank you, Miss Jimenez.
I'm sorry, I'm just upset.
There just can be no greater parental pain than when your child is hurt.
You feel helpless.
Mm-hmm.
I see medical bills here in the amount of $35,000.
Yes, sir.
There also is an x-ray here. Let's take a look at the monitor. What are we looking at, Miss Jimenez?
Well, that's her left tibia, broken. My baby cannot do the things that she used to do. Her cheerleading.
The homecoming dance.
Everything.
A lot of
Even
things
at
altered by this.
Yes,
Yes,
her
ma'am.
whole life. She has to walk around in crutches on her special day.
So, Alma, you were in a boot on this special day? In a dress?
Yes, Your Honor. This was the moment that my mom and I had been planning ever since I can remember, with a big, beautiful dress. And I didn't even get that. I had to wear my second choice, the pink.
How did you dance? How did you celebrate?
I couldn't. The boot was in the way. I couldn't have my special dad-daughter dance. I couldn't dance with the boy I liked. I couldn't even dance with my friends. Even taking the photos was so hard because I had this humongous boot and the dress and...
I mean, you are beautiful, even with a boot.
Thank you.
Even with a boot, that's a beautiful dress.
But I'll never get that back, and it won't be how we planned.
This platform here, Miss Sullivan, is this the platform from your store?
Yes, sir.
Matt, would you put your arms around that dress and move it off the platform?
If you'll notice, Judge, it actually has a signs on both steps that say, watch your step.
And were those signs there on that day?
Absolutely, they're never off.
Is this the platform that your daughter was on that day?
Yes, sir. That tiny little thing is the platform. Yes, sir.
Not a whole lot of space to celebrate, right?
Yeah. Asking her to pose as well.
But you got on that platform with your daughter.
Yes, sir.
And that was the party space, at least at the dress shop.
It was.
Do you see why, though, that Miss Sullivan or her employees would be nervous about y'all celebrating
Yeah,
on
I do, but she was not present. She should have been present when my daughter was still trying on the
Your
dress.
Honor,
At the time that she fell, she was not there.
We're always busy. I stepped out for 2 seconds just to answer a question. I heard the scream and I came running. I asked Magna to call 911 and to get attention to her.
Miss Sullivan, you referred to Magda. That's Miss Perez, who's sitting here with you, right?
Correct, yes.
Maybe, Miss Perez, you could step up to the podium. I'd like to hear from you. You were there that day, right?
Yes, sir.
And tell me what you remember.
I hem and fit all the dresses.
Okay.
And when the girls come, they come up on the platform, and that's where I take the measurements. And I always tell them to be careful.
And you did that this day. You told
sir.
Alma
To the plaintiff daughter to be
careful.
careful, to watch her steps.
Did you say anything to her mother, Miss Jimenez?
I said, ma'am, will you please, keep eye on her, or, make sure that she don't fall.
You were concerned about her actually stepping off the
Yes,
platform.
because she was too jiggly, like too much, and I could not take measurements. Her mom insisted of, oh, look this way, oh, look that way. So
when she fell, it was right in front of you.
Well, actually, no, I stepped away. I was with another customer.
So no one was with her when she's on this platform? Except her mom?
mother.
Exactly.
So let me get this straight, Miss Jimenez.
Yes.
You believe it's their fault because they didn't stay there and hold your daughter's hand?
Nope, there's something else, Your Honor.
What else is that?
Well, in order to get the right measurements, you have to have the right pair of shoes.
Okay.
And so
Makes sense.
they gave my daughter shoes that were entirely too big, 2 sizes at least too big for her feet. Okay?
Why does that make a difference?
That makes a difference because I wanted my daughter to be wearing 4-inch heels. She needed the right heels for that day, and those shoes were too big for her feet.
Why didn't she bring her own?
No, Your Honor.
With the dress.
Exactly. So the shop usually supplies those things.
I knew she was going to bring this up. So
Okay.
I've actually brought the shoes that we recommend.
These shoes.
The shoes that we recommended that she get are 2-inch heels. Because typically...
Why do you recommend two-inch heels?
Because typically a 15-year-old is just learning how to wear high heels.
Your Honor.
They don't know how to wear them normally.
Your Honor, how does she know what my daughter knows and doesn't know?
So, Miss Sullivan, did you offer this shoe with 2-inch heels
Absolutely.
in the
Her
correct size, though?
Everything.
In the correct size?
This is her correct size right here.
Were you and your daughter offered 2-inch heels the correct size?
Yes, those ugly shoes, yes, we will offer those.
This is the shoe she wanted her to wear.
Okay.
This young girl is learning how to wear high heels.
It's a platform, Your Honor. I'm wearing them now. That's really like a 3-inch heel.
And it's a spike heel.
I want to see those shoes, and I'm not going to ask you to try them on.
She demanded that we give her that shoe. We put that shoe on her daughter.
This is the shoe your daughter was wearing?
It was.
And it was too big?
And that was too big, and that's why she fell off the platform.
Is it fair to say this heel's too high for a 15-year-old?
No, sir. That thing is slippery, and those shoes were too big for my daughter's feet. That's why she fell off.
Miss Sullivan, your folks had to know the shoe was the wrong size.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We told her that the shoe was the wrong size.
Your Honor, I do not recall that.
She still wanted it.
What was her response?
She demanded that we put that shoe on her daughter.
Alma, were you concerned when they put this shoe on you?
I was, because I thought they would have my size. That was the shoe I wanted. And I had practiced at home with other ones that were the similar height.
Did it feel wobbly?
It did, but I trusted her.
Did you tell them?
I did.
So when she tells you she's feeling wobbly, y'all keep the shoes on?
I told her to take that we shouldn't put it on to begin with. And that her mother demanded that we put it on. I'm trying to provide the best customer service
and how are we supposed to get the measurements without the right shoes?
So Ms. Jimenez,
yes,
if you demanded that they put on the wrong shoe, it was so that you get the hem right?
Correct. To match the shoes that we already bought for her for that day.
How do you get the hem right if you're moving around?
Well, that happened after though.
I think I've heard enough and I'm ready to make a decision. In every personal injury case, there are 3 elements. You all must prove that Ms. Sullivan was wrong and that her wrong caused Alma's injuries. Here, there's a little bit to go around. Ms. Jimenez, you were a mama bear, a wonderful mom that obviously got in the way of the effort to try to hem the dress. Ms. Sullivan says she and her employees tried to talk to you about it. I do understand these celebratory, once-in-a-lifetime moments and why that was so important. Ms. Jimenez, on behalf of your daughter, you are suing for $35,000 in medical expenses and $150,000 for her pain and suffering. That's a total of $185,000. The law requires me to factor in your involvement in this. Ms. Jimenez, you are responsible for your daughter's injuries, but you're not the only one responsible. Ms. Sullivan, y'all left her alone. You gave her the wrong shoes, and she fell. She stepped off this platform and hurt herself very badly. Considering the comparative fault as the law requires, I do find the fault on both sides. You're 49% responsible. That's why I've reduced what you seek, and I find in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $94,350. That is my final judgment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned. Our attorneys across America just viewed this case for the first time. Let's hear what Andrew Finkelstein has to say.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. The picture in this case was worth almost $100,000. The young plaintiff dreamed about her quinceañera since she was a little girl, but that was shattered when she broke her ankle. The photo of her in her beautiful dress wearing a boot fully captured the physical and emotional suffering from her fall. The lesson for us all, take lots of photos of your injuries and your recovery.